Sa magandang hapon po sa ating lahat at malugod na pagbati po mula sa Future Earth Philippines. Welcome po sa ka-103rd episode ng the Filipino SDG Action Hour at muli nyo kaming samahan sa isa't kalahating oras ng exciting at makabuluhang talakayan tungkol sa mga paksa na napapanahon at tiyak na kapupulutan ng aral at karunungan. At sa hapon na ito, tayo po ay binigyan ng magandang pagkakataon na samahan ang dalawang panauhin upang talakayin ang dalawang paksa na tutugon sa SDG 3 na sumasaklaw sa good health and well-being. So sa first part po na ating session, pag-uusapan natin ang topic na pinamagatang Operations Research on Dengue Control Interventions in Selected Communities in the Philippines. At sa pangalawang parte po naman ng ating session ay pag-uusapan natin ang topic na pinamagatang Sustainability through Knowledge Translation. Ako at Barangay kontra Dengue. So, yung una po natin panauhin, suki na po natin siya at meron po siyang mahigit 6 na dekada na expertise sa field ng zoology, entomology, microbiology, and parasitology. So she made a notable contribution in biological science, public health, and human resource development. She even pioneered studies in dengue, malaria, and many others. And with this comes the establishment of the Department of Parasitology and Medical Entomology and Malaria Group Study Group at the Research Institute of Tropical Medicine or RITM. Yung pangalawa po nating speaker, siya po ay 35-year-old academician at the University of the Philippines in Manila, specializing in pharmacy, pharmacology, and environmental science. And as a leader in a non-governmental organization, she made she champions early breast and cervix cancer screening, empowering communities through health education and advocacy. She is also a fervent advocate for the dengue prevention, utilizing storytelling as a powerful tool to educate and engage children in health principles. Her belief in the transformative power of storytelling underscores her commitment to innovative and life-improving health education. So sa hapon na ito, let's all welcome our speakers for today. National Academy of Science and Technology awardee, Outstanding Research in Tropical Medicine, Dr. Nelia Salazar, and National Research Council of the Philippines Achievement awardee, Dr. Judeline Yedos Solido. Ma'am Salazar, share ko lang po yung ano po ni Mama.
Us,
You can speak now.
asan na yung...
They can hear you.
Ilisin ko na muna ito. Oh, sige.
Oh, it's okay. Nalilito.
Hi,
Ay,
Nakikita po ba natin ng power slide?
yeah.
Pa-heart po
Yes
naman.
po.
Sige po,
galba.
salamat.
Ako po sa paper.
Heart, heart.
Malas. Okay na? O di, ito na ano na ba ito? Ano na ito? Sana yung PowerPoint na malaki.
You can use this po for the
Bakit ayaw to?
mukhang hindi po lang.
Hindi na-recognize. Ikaw nga muna nga. Hindi ako sanay yan eh.
Sige.
Yung show.
Which one po yung ano?
Yan na ba pinakamalaki?
Sila po yung nag-share ng slide.
Ha?
Kayo po ba yung mag-share ng slide?
Oo.
Hi.
Yan na muna.
Oh, someone else is sharing.
Ang malaki. Ayaw.
Yan na po yung pinakamalaki.
Ngayon na pinakamalaki. Sige.
Miss Aren, i-stop ko po ba yung sharing ko po?
Yan na. Okay. Alright. Since our topic is dengue, this is Aedes aegypti mosquito. Bakit nawawala? Ito, ayaw ito.
Ano po yung share niyo? Ano po yung share niyo? May i-share po ba kayo ng document? Or slides?
Yan na nga.
Oh, sa kanila po na ano po?
Akin yung PowerPoint slide ko yan eh.
Okay po.
Mark, mahina. Bakit di marinig?
Sir,
Sige po.
can you share the slide earlier again?
Sige po.
Okay, thank you.
Ito yung ano ko eh.
Sila po, si Dr. Salazar. Yeah.
Oh,
Yan po
okay.
yun.
Oo, yan na.
Okay.
Bakit walang pointer?
Sige, Ma'am Nelia, sabihin niyo lang po sa akin if ililipat ko na po yung PowerPoint o hindi. Ako na po yung kukuman po.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sabihin niyo lang po next.
So, this is the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Anyway, a little entomology. You will see the black and white markings, okay, which is characteristic of Aedes aegypti, also Aedes albopictus. But Aedes aegypti, which is the principal vector of dengue, is called yellow fever mosquito. Yung kapatid niya, si Aedes albopictus, is called tiger mosquito. Pero pareho lang yan. Both of them transmit dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and West Nile fever. Okay. Ito, you can distinguish, hindi nakita masyado yung antenna. Can you point the antenna? Wag na. Okay, wag na mag-entomology. O next slide.
Next slide daw po.
Next slide. Ito ayaw.
Sir, can you, yeah, there.
Ayun. So the Aedes aegypti is the principal vector of dengue worldwide in all urban or environments worldwide. The causative agent of this mosquito is a single-stranded RNA virus which consists of 4 distinct serotypes: dengue virus 1, dengue virus 2, dengue virus 3, and dengue virus 4. I am mentioning this because I have something to say about dengue virus 3 later. Next slide, please. The World Health Organization noted tenfold increase in dengue cases from 500,000 to 5.2 million in the past 2 decades of 20,000 to 2018 in 129 countries. That's a lot. That's a lot already. Now, as of April 2024, 7.6 billion cases out of a world population of 8.2 billion have been reported. How do you interpret this? If you interpret this, 10% of the world population is at risk of dengue. Right? All right. How about the confirmed cases? Half of the cases of 7.6 million are confirmed, laboratory confirmed. What does it mean? Half of them have been diagnosed clinically as dengue, probably have been treated, or some have become severe, and some have died. But the lower number of severe cases and death shows that clinical cure has been successful. Okay. But what's the problem? Next slide, please. In the Philippines, ranks number 4 among Asian countries in number of dengue cases. That's 100,000 as of 2024. Less, 18% less of cumulative cases, fewer deaths. Well, this is due to improved clinical cure. But dengue is still there. I don't care 100,000 or 200,000 or 50,000. The point is, dengue is here to stay, like it or not. All right. Now, the problem is, even if there is slight decrease in cases and in mortality, there is another problem. The emergence of a dengue virus 3 variant. What is dengue virus 3 variant? Next slide, please. Persons previously infected with dengue virus 1 and dengue virus 2, when subsequently infected by that dengue virus 3, can lead to the more severe manifestation of dengue, which is dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome. Any of these 4 viruses, 1 or 2 or any combination, can infect man. But it is that when you have a previous infection with dengue 1 and 2 and comes in dengue 3, there will be complications. Next slide, please. Dengue, before World War II in the 1940s to 1945, is only break-bone fever, nothing more than fever, aches, muscle, and joint ache, period. What happened? In the early 1950s, there were cases of children having been reinfected. Therefore, there was secondary infection and as shown by the presence of IgG antibodies in Manila, in the Philippines, and in Bangkok, Thailand. And they were exhibiting hemorrhagic diathesis. So that was the beginning of dengue hemorrhagic fever. Dengue hemorrhagic fever can be more complicated and potentially lead to death, to become dengue shock syndrome. But DHF and DSS are not a problem clinically because WHO has published a good manual on the curative aspect of dengue. The problem is why there is still dengue. Okay, let's go. Now, most of the cases are not laboratory confirmed. They may have dengue, they can recover, or some may become severe. But what we don't know is half of that population may be called carriers. Meaning, if you are an adult and you have a good immune system, you may not be ill. But when they examine your blood, your serum, you may not be positive for virus, but you are positive for antibodies, anti-dengue antibody, which means that you are a carrier of dengue, and then you can be a source of infection. So what happened is, in 2013 to 2014, DOST through PCHRD and DOH gave us a grant at RITM to do operational research in 6 cities, 6 communities, 6 cities in the Philippines where they say there is high incidence of dengue. Next slide, please. All right. These are the antecedents. I will say now, until I die, that the only control of dengue is mosquito control, eliminating the vector, okay? The second paragraph is the work of DOH, meaning the National Dengue Prevention and Control Program, which focuses on the elimination or reduction of mortality and morbidity due to dengue by eliminating the vector. I dare say this is a failure. Otherwise, why is there still dengue? Okay? What happened to the mosquito and what happened to the DOH and the CP program? I can only say now that NDCP ignored the result of our work in 2013 and 2014. And it is not for me now to cry about it. If we still have dengue, it is not my fault. I've done everything as far as dengue is concerned. So finally, my message is that dengue can only be controlled if we have a systematic approach continuous, not compartmentalized, not fragmented, not now sporadic, today, tomorrow, next year, when it rains, when there is no cases in, everybody is happy. Then it comes again. It's open on, open on. So that is the state we're in. Next slide, please. Next. Just move on. Next. All right. In 2013, the DOST, DOH, and DENR got into the agreement to start the so-called Abacada, meaning Action Barangay Contra Dengue. Next slide, please. Now, so this was accompanied by a number of circulars, which is mandating local government and down the line to do the systematic assessment of dengue control program in the Philippines. That was in 2012. Okay, now it's 2025 and we still have dengue and children are still dying from dengue. Unfortunately, children are the most vulnerable age group. Next slide, please. So this is Abacada, meaning search for the mosquito, clean up mosquito breeding place, consult, but here you can see, clean up the environment, no fogging. I am very much against this fogging. But what is happening now, when it rains, there will be cases, and then the local barangay will start fogging. I think it's a waste of time and a waste of money and a waste of human effort. Okay? And if I were the mosquito, I'm not going to stay there to inhale the fog that they are releasing. After 10 minutes, that's gone. And how about my progeny? How about the eggs that I have laid? They will still carry dengue virus. So when your fogging is done, unless you are fogging every day, 24 hours a day, I don't think it's working. Okay, next slide, please. Next. Okay. What did we do? 6 cities where they say dengue incidence is high. For each city, 2 barangays. Okay? Next slide, please. Next slide. All right. These are the study population. Officials of the DILG, city and barangay levels, officials of DOH, school principal, teacher, random selection of grade 5 and 6 pupils, and then random selected barangay resident, usually head of household or some responsible adult in the household, and children, school children, and then representatives of non-government organizations, including media. Next. So, the methodology involves FKII,
Key informant interview.
okay, focus group discussion, and then inspection of the environment where the mosquito breeding place, and individual interviews. That's the methodology of all of those populations that I have mentioned. Next slide, please. Next. I'm not going to discuss all of this. Next slide, please. I would like to go directly to the objectives. Next. All right, back to the slide. Back slide. Look at this. This is bromeliad. What we found in San Pablo City, that Aedes aegypti will also breed in the water that accumulates in the. What is the implication? How do you control that mosquito? You cannot control it by spraying. You have to drain How do you drain the bromeliad if it is a big one like this and there are hundreds of them? So next slide, please. All right, there are 4 objectives. Right? One objective is to examine the process of implementation. I'm not going to talk about that because I want to go directly to the advocacy, okay? But I will tell you the summary result later. Okay, then go to object 2. Next, up to 2. Second objective, yan, to determine the extent of compliance. Again, I have a lot to say about compliance, and I think that is one of the root of the problem. Compliance of all concerned. Okay, I don't know where the practitioners of advocacy will focus because compliance involves people. Next, please. Next, the third objective. Go to the third is to identify ordinances. All right. I myself in Las Piñas City, I have studied the various municipal ordinances with regards to environment, garbage collection, and everything. In our study of these 6 cities and 12 barangays, there are very few or hardly any municipal ordinance developed related to dengue. If there are no ordinance, well, who will comply with what? Okay? That's why practitioners of advocacy, you have a lot of work to do. As I'm saying, the ball is in your park now. I have done everything to show what is what and what is not. But I cannot do anything unless somebody will take action. Next, fourth objective, my last objective. All right. Fourth objective is now directed to students and barangay residents and all these population groups that I have mentioned. And these are the results. Okay. 4.1 slide. Next slide, please. All right. You can see here that as far as knowledge of dengue as a disease, 100%, high percentage, mostly from TB, radio, and other people. You can see down the line, very low input from school, from the medical personnel, because people will not consult nurse or doctor unless they are sick. In the school, unless there is a boy or girl that comes down with fever. So people depend mostly on TB and other persons, usually their neighbors. But that is where misinformation or lack of information happens, okay? And all the rest is miscellaneous. But you can also see that low impact of the barangay officials, okay? Or advocacy group, you better work on the barangay officials. Next slide, please. That is the house. The first slide is household, head of household. The second slide is school. School meaning grade 5 and 6 students and teachers. Again, main source of information, TB and others. Low impact of barangay and medical personnel. Next slide, please. And then clinical. No problem about clinical medicine. They know when you have dengue, you have fever, you have this aches and pain, you vomit, headache. Some of them are systemic, not necessarily due to dengue. Trouble is when there will be hemorrhagic manifestation. Any fever more than 2 days should be brought to the consult the hospital or medical doctor. Next slide, please. All right, the same of the school. So we have both school and the adult population. Next slide, please. Transmission. Transmission, unanimous. They know it's mosquito. However, not any mosquito. That is the trouble. We have so many mosquitoes around the house, at least two. The brown, common household mosquito that will bite you at night. That is Culex tritanurhynchus. Then we have the dengue, which is a daytime biter, which is very much noted by the black and white spot. And they like to stay in the darkened portion of the house where the babies are sleeping, even at daytime. Okay? Next slide, please. The same. These are the school. For the next slide, please. These are the household. The same. Mosquitoes. But there are also misconceptions. Okay? About vector control. There are misconceptions, not just any mosquito, and some also other than mosquitoes, maybe flies, rats. Okay. Now, about vector control, they know that cleaning is primary. But clean what? If you clean the sewer, the Pozo Negro, no effect. What effect? Aedes aegypti does not breed there. If you clean the canal or the estero, no effect. Aedes aegypti does not. Where does Aedes aegypti breed? Okay, so the next slide, as far as knowledge of people. Next slide, please. Next, the same. Now, the presence. Slide, please. Number 1, flower base. Who's guilty? The teacher. Every now and then, when I go to an office or the school, first thing I look at the flower base. Okay, whether there are kitty or not. Then the teacher or the person will say, oh, I changed the water every time I see kitty. But there is always kitty. Why? I have to show them that the Aedes aegypti egg will lay egg on the surface, on the water surface, interface, and the egg will stick there. The egg of Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, in comparison to malaria vector and other mosquitoes, they can withstand desiccation. If you just drain the water and you don't replace it, the eggs will remain there even in your gutter or elsewhere, even for months. The eggs are still viable. And once there is water, that is why when the rains come, suddenly there are mosquitoes and you don't know where they came from. They are from the eggs that were previously laid and were laying dormant there in the desiccated state. That is the characteristic of Aedes aegypti. That is one finding that people should know. The other finding which we found, but I still don't know the epidemiological implication, there is trans-ovarian transmission. When a female Aedes aegypti has virus, dengue virus, it will pass the virus to its egg and therefore to the larva, the pupa, and once the pupa becomes adult, that adult will be infected with virus even without having injected blood from an infected person. That is trans-ovarian transmission. But this was our finding in Quezon City. And all of my findings have been published. You can find them. But like I told Dr. Solidum, I'm already tired. I have done everything. I have published everything. I have been preaching this time and again, and now I'm 91 years old, and I'm still preaching. No one is listening. Okay? Next slide, please. All right. Attitude. Attitude is very controversial. They like to do something about dengue because they are afraid. They know that dengue, if it is not treated, can lead to death. But it ends there. You ask them, do you clean your house? Do you look after all of the, they don't, they're busy earning a living and all that. I myself, I'm very careful in my own household. How about my neighbor? That is why we still have mosquitoes, we still have cockroaches and rats, not coming from my own yard, but from the neighbor. Especially that I'm living in a townhouse. So my neighbor is just next door within centimeter of my perimeter. So that's the problem. In the Philippines, that's also the problem. Next slide, please. So where will your advocacy target? Who will you, okay, you train your, you lecture to this, when they go back home, it's the same dump they're going back to. And nobody likes to bother about cleaning every day. They will clean once, before a fiesta, before Christmas or something like this. Next slide, please. So, same thing with attitude. Finally, let's go, Pastor. Next slide, please. Next slide. Highlights. Okay, highlights. There are similarities and differences among the six. All right. So, what to do? We have to prioritize because we have to target who, what, when, how. Okay, next. There is multi-sectoral involvement, but not enough. And the community participation is lacking, very much lacking. I don't see it in my own barangay, in my own neighborhood. As I said, they will only be aware if there's already a case. And then suddenly, everybody is very much alive. Okay, barangay teams. Barangay teams are all right, but again, sporadic. And also, I will say in the last, leading by example. If the barangay officials themselves prepare to drink and chat idly instead of looking after the breeding places of dengue, because that is hard work and not easy work and not pleasant work, then how do you expect people to do, to help themselves? Monitoring, nearly none. Training, a lot of training. We are overly trained. We are overly researched. We are overly published. Okay, next slide, please. Messages, again, print media, print. They cannot translate. How do you translate this various information about mosquito, about manifestation of dengue, on the importance of dengue as a public health problem, meaning not you, my neighbor, but all of us involved. Role of school also lacking. Knowledge that there is sufficient, but there's a lot of misinformation. Now, the last two, this is the program of the DOH, the OBITRAP, and the, what is this, treated curtain, useless. It doesn't work, and I have seen it myself. That is one of the failures of the NDCPC. Okay, next slide, please. Next. Now, recommendation. All right. Compliance. Nearly, I have not seen one report responding to the circular of 2012 of DILG. So I don't know whether that is needed or not. But that is on the part of the barangay. Number two, need to increase participation, of course. Well, they're participating, but as I said, not regularly, not on a regular basis. But the life cycle of the mosquito, every 3 weeks, every day it's laying eggs. Okay? With or without rain. As I said, after the rain, the eggs will still be there. Next. right? There's a lot. There's a lot of need to be addressed, including misconception. The at the level of the barangay, one problem is usually the barangay chairman or even the mayor does not consider dengue as a priority problem. Of course, there are many other problems. So, if with or without funding, dengue is always left behind. Unless, as I said, there are cases, then they start fogging. That's it. That's what's happening. All right? Then people become alerted. But who's going to clean every week? Okay, next slide. All right, policy recommendation. Definitely multi-sectoral involvement, including the community participation. This toolbox, I was thinking of this. I think this item 2.2 should contain something about advocacy. Place advocacy in the policy, in the DOH map, in the national map, in the LGU map, in the barangay map. So 2.2, there should be a place for advocacy in relation to policy. How and why, I don't know. Next program recommendation. All right, prioritization, highly endemic. Everything is endemic now. So the entire Philippines is endemic for malaria, for dengue. Now, okay, research should continue, but there is a limit to research. As a researcher, I am about to give up. No more research unless you can do something about what have we found and what has not been done and what should be done. Who, when, how. That's what to be answered for me to be satisfied. Before I die, I have 9 more years if the Lord will not call me earlier. Next slide, please. I think this is the end. Next. So, OB trap and treated bed net or curtain is useless. If not, why is there still dengue? And that costs millions. And I'll say that the NDCP did not even look at my report, our report. Now, who is going to do this now? I think Dr. Solidum is, the ball is in her park now. Next slide, please. I think this is the end. Yeah. So, this is my story. Thank you very much.
Salamat po, Dr.
Thank you.
Salazar, sa napakaganda pong pag-storytelling at sa napakagandang framework po na inyong presentation. Now, mapunta po tayo sa second part po ng ating talakayan sa hapon na ito. At ngayon po para po i-discuss naman po ang sustainability through knowledge translation, ako at Barangay kontra Dengue. Let's all welcome Dr. Judeline Niedo Solido.
Maraming salamat, Sir Mark. Mag-share lang po ako ng aking screen.
Sige lang po.
Ay po. Nakikita na po ba ninyo?
Pa-heart po naman, kung nakikita po natin ang slide po ni Dr. Solido. Yan po, sige pa.
Salamat. Salamat po sa puso. Ayan, slideshow ko na siya. Ayan, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. First of all, gusto ko magpasalamat kay Ma'am Luli sa ating National Scientist, Dr. Lourdes J. Cruz. Ma'am, thank you po for inviting me over and for the wonderful opportunity to at least share whatever I can on our dengue prevention dissemination campaign. Okay, as part of our advocacy. Pinamagatan po namin itong advokasya namin na ako at Barangay kontra Dengue. Hindi po ito kapareho noong sa DOH kasi yung A ay magkaiba, sila ay action, ako ay ako. Pero meron po kaming magkaparehong objective, that is to hopefully taper dengue in our country. Ayan. So what I will briefly tackle today will be the following. Although I know that you know very well what knowledge translation is and sustainability, but let us just do a little revisiting of knowledge translation. Let us refresh ourselves kasama na ako of sustainability. And then I would like to tackle on how my dengue advocacy started and some milestones, and then how my dengue advocacy continues and the moving forward for this. Okay, so dali lang po, itatabi ko lang, ayan, ang ang panel ng mga participants. Yan. So, knowledge translation. According po sa Canadian Institutes of Health Research, it is the dynamic and iterative process, makulit, that includes the synthesis, dissemination, exchange, and ethically sound application of knowledge to improve health, provide more effective health services and products, and strengthen the healthcare system. So this is the definition also adopted by others like the United Nations National Center for Dissemination of Disability Research and the World Health Organization. Sabi yan ni Strauss et al. In 2009. And then he continued that the common elements among different definitions, meron niyang knowledge creation. Yung mga parati natin ginagawa, ano po, example, yung primary research, and then knowledge distillation, creation of systematic reviews, guidelines, policy making ni Ma'am Nelia, and among others, and then knowledge dissemination. We as researchers, we do print, we publish our researches in journals, and then we allow the professional community to listen to our oral presentations, to read through our poster presentations, among others. But then again, the idea would be to move beyond the simple dissemination of knowledge into the actual use of it. Actually, po, nung nabasa ko ito na article noong 2009 pa, no, sabi ko, 2010, sabi ko, hindi lang pala dapat nagpa-publish. Dapat pala talaga yung mga resulta ng ating pananaliksik, dinadala natin sa community. Kasi yun ang kailangan, kaya nga tayo nananaliksik para sagutan ang mga suliranin, no, ng ating mga pamayanan. So na-impress yan sa akin. So knowledge dissemination in communities, whenever we do that, it is always in my heart, this hope. Okay? It is my hope that what we offer the community in this generation will be used by the next generations to come. So there is harmony among environment, society, and economy. So yung mga good or best practices po natin na handed down, no, from one generation to the other, I'm really hoping and praying that this will breed sustainability. Okay. So ano po ba yung sustainability? Sabi ni UCLA, okay, ang Sustainability Committee, sabi niya, sustainability is the integration of environmental health, social equity, and economic vitality in order to create thriving, healthy, diverse, and resilient communities for this generation and the generations to come. So no, I understand why we abhor dynamite fishing, because in dynamite fishing we even kill the fingerlings, okay, or we abhor illegal logging because we cut down even the very young trees, and there is no conscience in illegal loggers to replace what they have taken from the forest. Okay. So we have here the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Sabi ng UNESCO noong 2021. In September 2015, on the 70th session of the UN General Assembly, the SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals, were adopted. This form a program of sustainable, universal, and ambitious development. It's a program of the people, by the people, and for the people. Kanina narinig ko si Sir Mark. Sir Mark, salamat kasi meron kaming tumama doon sa SDG. Yung SDG number 3, pinusuan ko po yung mga SDGs na sa tingin namin ay nare-respondihan ng dengue prevention campaigns na ginagawa namin. So other than the SDG 3, sinama din po namin yung SDG 4, SDG 5, SDG 13, 14, and 15. Mamaya na po, babalikan ko po mamaya yung dahilan namin kung bakit isinama namin ang 6 na SDGs na ito to answer for our things that can respond to coming from our advocacy on dengue prevention. Okay. Now, as a believer of KT, or knowledge translation, I engage in using primary or secondary data to advocate on mental health in work and study place. Lalo na po nung nagka-COVID, marami po tayong mga estudyante at mga kasamahan sa university na medyo hindi naging maganda ang kanilang kalusugang pang-isip. Okay? And also on gender mainstreaming. The first two, yung naka-yellow highlight, propelled po ito basically because of my UP committee works. And then, health through invention related to drug discovery and development, basically because I'm a professor of the UP College of Pharmacy. And so we are actually teaching the students on how to do drug discovery. And we also try to do that in the laboratory when I was still doing laboratory. Okay, and then health through diagnostic services in the community, basically propelled by my engagements as part of non-government organizations in collaboration with the Philippine Cancer Society. Kasi po ginagawa namin, we give free early breast and cervix screening, cancer screening to communities who will be inviting us to go there. Okay, minsan meron din kaming free prostate cancer screening. Okay, we call it Kaiki. Okay, Kaiki, wag na po nating gawing Pilipinong-Pilipinong kiki kasi mas maganda pakinggan kung Kaiki. So, kababaihan ingatan, cancer iwasan. Yun po ang tawag namin sa programang ito. So we give free screening, we give free treatment, cryotherapy treatment, and then we give free chemotherapy drugs po dun sa merong mga breast cancer na mga pasyente. Kasi napakamahal po ng gamutan dito. And then we do refer them to oncologists. And of course, that is in collaboration with the Philippine Cancer Society. These are things that I do, but I will be highlighting Abacada under health and education this afternoon. Ako, barangay at kontra dengue. Okay, so nagsimula po ito doon sa aking funded project na sa DOST and RCP. And then in between 2015 until 2023, the family shouldered basically the advocacy. And then in 2023, kasama na po namin ang United Federation of PhilAm Educators, Manila Plus Chapter, AHED MRI, or Association of Higher Education Multidisciplinary Researchers Incorporated, University of Philippines College of Pharmacy, Gender and Development Committee, and the same committee from Pamantasan, Lungsod ng Maynila, College of Nursing, and LGUs in Manila. Okay. So, balikan ko lang po yung SDGs kanina. So, talaga namang swak na swak talaga yung doon sa dengue prevention advocacy, no? Kasi ang end result naman na gusto natin ay ma-taper, if not mawala totally ang dengue sa Pilipinas. So, good health and well-being. However, because we are using storytelling as a teaching strategy in giving information to children in the community and public schools, ito ay isang klasikong pamamaraan ng pagtuturo. Klasiko kasi parang pamula pa ng lola natin, ginagamit na ito sa pagtuturo kahit pagsisermon sa mga bata. So it's effective but rarely used in regular schools. But we see that if we can give out good information and education to children using storybooks, then it can fall into SDG 4. And then, kaya po merong SDG 5 dyan, gender equality, because before we start any of our storytelling events, kahit mapa dengue o kahit hindi dengue ang pinag-uusapan namin, we always impress on children ang pagtuturo, ang education ay hindi lamang gampani ng mga babae. Kasi stereotyping po 'yan, 'di ba? Bakit kaya walang Lolo Pablo na nagtuturo, parating si Lola Basyang, 'di ba? Pero pwede na merong Lolo Juan. Yun yung ini-impress namin sa mga bata, gender equality when we are talking about education in children. Alright, yung 13, 14, 15, environmentally linked po kasi yan, mga SDGs na yan. And dengue is environmentally linked. According to Abdullah, in 2025, warmer temperatures accelerate. Alam na natin lahat ito. But let me just refresh all of you of what has been written in 2024 and 2025 again. So warmer temperatures accelerate the life cycle of mosquitoes. They increase the spread of dengue virus, enhance the replication of virus within the mosquito. And then when there is urbanization, especially the rapid and unplanned ones, it can lead to poor waste management. So merong inadequate drainage systems. Nagkakaroon ng stagnant water pools. At ito yung magandang breeding ground ng mga mosquitoes. And then there could be dense vegetation that can provide shelter and breeding sites for mosquitoes. Now, areas with significant vegetation cover can have microclimatic conditions that support higher mosquito populations. So sabi naman ni Sajib, no, in 2024, inom lang po ako. Excuse me. Increased rainfall result to more standing water. So breeding site ulit ng mosquitoes. Pero ang magandang aspeto ng malakas na pag-ulan, nawawash away niya yung mga mosquito larvae. Pero temporary reduction lang din naman ito. So in essence, kahit nawawash off niya, pagka merong natira doon sa mga paso na sinasabi ni Ma'am Nella kanina, sa mga gulong na nakatiwangwang, kailangan tanggalin kaagad yan. Linisin para walang nag-a-adhere na mga larvae doon sa lugar na iyon. And then Zhu Shu and Wang in 2004 said that high humidity levels are conducive to mosquito survival and activity. So mosquitoes thrive in humid environments which can prolong their lifespan and increase the likelihood of dengue transmission. So in essence, in educating young ones on how to be dengue slayers, yan. Pagka napupunta po kasi kami sa community, meron kaming coloring book din na dinadala, no? And it talks about how little ones can be dengue slayers. Oh, and they can be dengue slayers by keeping the environment clean and in conditions that will prevent dengue. We can also answer SDGs related to the environment. So we can contribute in preventing the progress of climate change, and such occurrence can help prevent dengue too. As we clean the environment for dengue prevention, we can also help improve environmental conditions related to water and land. So that is the reason po why we added SDGs 13, 14, and 15 onto the SDGs that we are answering when we do dengue dissemination campaign, dengue prevention dissemination campaign under Abacada. Ayan, simulan na po natin yung kwento kung paano ako nagsimula. So I was project leader of the eco-socio-economic arm of the dengue remove program under DOST and RCP since 2012 until 2015. But we did our pre-study in 2011. Okay, we did our KAP, knowledge, attitudes, practices in the community. And one thing that we've seen was the problem on the information. Masyadong maliit yung information na napupunta sa mga bata tungkol sa mga prinsipyo, tungkol sa dengue at kung paano mape-prevent ang dengue. So we talked within the team and said na maganda siguro we try to do storytelling using OG storybooks. OG New Lingo, no? Original po ang ibig sabihin ng OG. OG storybooks as strategy. Okay? So ito pong nung kami po ay nag-storytell sa mga bata, nakita namin na nag-increase, no? So through the span of 2012 to early of 2014, we've seen that their knowledge on prevention of dengue and the knowledge on principles of dengue improved because of the campaign that we did using storytelling and the original storybooks. Okay, and also mabanggit ko lang po, sabi ni Cox J in 2021 and Matamit et al. In 2020, combined yung kanilang pag-aaral, no? Sinabi nila na yung stories pala, nakaka-capture yung attention ng listeners. Okay? Tapos yung imagination na pervert them. Then, no, making them more interested in the subject matter. So this, because of the increase in the subject matter, this will increase their motivation and participation in learning activities. Okay, and then storytelling helps in breaking down complex scientific concepts into simpler, more understandable narratives. So, yung dengue po, yung mga tungkol sa lamok, medyo mahirap intindihin po yan. Yung pathophysiology. So, dahil gumawa po kami ng mga istorya tungkol dyan, medyo nahimay-himay po namin at naging laymanized yung mga narratives at naiintindihan ito ng mga bata. So, this can aid in better comprehension and retention of information, sabi ni Cox at saka ni Matamit. Now, the stories can connect scientific concepts to real-life situations. Totoo naman po, whenever we go into the community, sa mga pamayanan, tatanungin namin, sino nagka-dengue dito? So, maraming magtataas ng kamay. Sino dito? Meron kaibigan nagka-dengue, mga kapamilya nagka-dengue, taas sila ng kamay. So, alam nila kung anong nangyayari pag may dengue. At kapag nagkukwento ka na relate sila. So, alam mo yon, nakikita natin na nasasalamin nung aming ginagawa sa community yung panulat ni Matamit at saka ni Cox na sinasabi nila na mas nagkakaroon ng meaning at relevance kasi nailalagay sa real life scenario yung mga itinuturo through storytelling. And then the listeners can develop critical thinking and problem solving skills as they analyze the story, make predictions, and draw conclusions. Yan. So, meron po kaming mga nagawang mga books, ano. So, ito po, Mosky, ang vampirang lamok. Mosky the vampire mosquito. Kasi ano, nangangagat siya. So, matulis yung kanyang mga pangil, yung kanyang panusok. Okay, so it talks about ways by which dengue mosquitoes may be prevented from multiplying, which will inhibit dengue virus transmission in the community. The other one is Dinudugo si Dino. This storybook, walang S, this storybook laymanized the pathophysiology of dengue. And then, wag mo kong kagatin, ito ay kwento ng batang na dengue. Ano? This storybook naman talks about the symptomatology of dengue and how it may be treated. Ayan. So, ito po yung ibang activities namin at saka milestones during the project in 2012, 2015. Medyo matagal na po. So, kung ano lang po yung nahaklit ko dun sa aking database ay ipipresent ko sa inyo. So, the books were showcased actually in SMX MOA in 2013 to increase the public's knowledge on this government initiative. Oh, by the way, this dengue remove program is under the presidency of then DOST and RCP President Dr. Lourdes Cruz. Tapos under the Executive Director Dr. Cecilia Reyes. Siya po yung nandoon sa gitna ng second picture, si Ma'am Cecil. Kasama ko po siya doon sa exhibit na naganap sa SMX. And then, we did storytelling sessions in different public schools in Old Manila, Quezon City, the pilot area of the project, from 2012 until early of 2014. So, mga elementary schools po. Tapos, yung latter part ng program, meron na rin po kaming isinama ng mga comic books para naman sa high school students. And then, ay, syempre, hindi po mawawala ang sobrang cute na mga preschoolers natin doon sa Old Balala, Quezon City. Yan. And then, in June 15 of 2013, the DOH's national, nabasan namin, ano, the DOH's National Epidemiology Center said that the total figure of dengue cases represented a 1% decline compared to the same period, January to first week of June in 2012. Now, tinignan namin, ay, Quezon City, perong siyang 77% decrease. And it has the highest decrease relative to Manila, to Caloocan, to Parañaque, and Valenzuela. Eh, syempre, masaya yung grupo, di ba? But, we never claimed anything because we know in our heart that ang pagbaba ng dengue incidence is multisectoral, multifactorial. Okay? Pero ang hindi pwedeng sabihin na hindi namin pwedeng i-claim ay naging parte kami, naging bahagi ang programa namin, the storytelling that we did in Quezon City, naging bahagi ito ng pagbaba ng dengue incidence. And then, just lately, in 2023, meron ako nakitang isang pag-aaral ni Medina et al. Incidence per 10,000 in Quezon City. So, 2012, 2013, 2014, pababa yung dengue incidence. Kaya ko po, ito lang ang kinuha kasi ang aming masagsag na ginawang implementation ay 2012, 2013, and early of 2014. Okay. So, after nung ano po, in the middle of 2014, we ventured into moving out of the pilot study, okay, with, of course, with the blessings of NRCP, USD NRCP. And we were featured by Rockhoppers UK through Dengue Remove Dissemination Campaign in Barangay 830, Pandacan, Manila, so far from Quezon City in 2014, holding into our hearts that the storytelling did, well, we've seen it, okay, in our observation that it improved the knowledge of the students and knowing that we were part of the decline of the dengue in Quezon City. And then the three original books were given the award, Distinguished World Book Awards by the International Association of Scholarly Publishers, Reviewers, and Editors and Reviewers, yeah, in 2014 at Radisson Blue Hotel. So the work of the services of my husband, Dr. Solido, Gilmore Solido, who is a nurse psychologist, continued. Okay? Kailangan ko po kasi siya gawin bat-bat sa community ang work na to. kailangan ko ng psychologist at or wala pwedeng man sociologist pero okay ang psychologist, okay? Para sa pag-aaral na ito. And then, tinuloy din ang voluntary work ng aking anak na si Geoffrey Solidum because he was the one who illustrated the coloring books and he was the one who created small songs, okay, short songs about dengue for the children to remember what dengue is. Ano ba? Aedes aegypti, nagkukos ng dengue. Ano yung kantang pwedeng ibigay dyan? So he provided the music for that. And also, the voluntary work of Jaya. Okay. Because she is our main storyteller. Kapag wala siya, kami mag-asawa ang nagtatumbling sa pagkukwento sa mga bata. Okay? So they started early. Geoffrey started when he was in high school. He's now a landscape architect, a licensed landscape architect from UP Diliman. And Jaya is started when she was in college. She is now a licensed physician, a graduate of MD PhD of UP Medicine. But kahit na nandun, nagme-medicina na po siya, nakukuha pa rin niyang magkwento sa mga bata. Kinakaladkad namin siya sa kwentuhan because you know that this advocacy is worthwhile. Okay, and then in 2014, um, dahil ginagawa namin ang pag-prevent ng dengue through dissemination using storytelling under DOST NRCP, yung pinakamasayang bubuyog, okay, yung foundation niya, na-spotlight kami. So we were given the Jollibee Family Values Awards in September 25, 2014 at PICC. And NRCP knows that and they rejoiced for the achievement because it is still under the program. And we continued on disseminating at NAH with our audience, the UP Crash students. And then we also did family keynote speaking in one international conference. At ito ay may basbas din ng DOST NRCP. Kasama nga po namin si Dr. Karina Lau. If you're familiar with her, she's fifth from right, okay, the one with the yellow ribbon. Okay? Kasama po namin siya. Siya po yung executive director noong panahon na yon at nagbigay din po siya ng talk tungkol sa ating mga trabaho. And during the time, sayang naman, nandun na sa Davao, we did our dengue campaign for universities, primary and secondary schools there. Yun, nabanggit kanina ni Sir Mark, nabigyan ako ng 2014 DOST NRCP Achievement Award because of the dengue program that we have propelled. Okay? And this is where we had several um, publications on this program. Pero ang i-share ko po ngayon ay yung storytelling as a health teaching strategy for dengue prevention and control in the Philippines. Ito po ay nalimbag sa Philippine Journal of Science kasi po dito na ipapakita na nag-i-increase yung knowledge ng mga bata kapag natuturuan sila sa pamamagitan ng pakikipagkwentuhan. Kasi hindi masyadong it's not restrictive, it's fun, it's entertaining, and they retain better. Okay, after the program in DOST and RCP, we still continued. Dito na po nagsimula ang coining ng pangalang Ako at Barangay kontra Dengue. Okay? Tinuloy po namin ang advokasya. Okay? Nagpunta kami sa iba't ibang schools kasama dito ang Aurora A. Quezon Elementary School. Ito po, balikan ko lang, ito ay more of a concert kind of thing. Yung eskwelahan, merong 3 sessions, tapos iba't hundreds of children come in to listen to the abakada. Okay, ang ano namin doon, ang sinasabi namin sa mga kaguruan, tulungan tayo, magtulungan tayo. So nagtuturo kami, i-reinforce ninyo sa mga estudyante and then try to see in their try to see how they are doing it in their homes. Okay? And then same thing, we went to Malabon. Ito naman po ay para sa isang church event. And then, so sad, late of 2015, I was diagnosed of breast cancer. And so I had to undergo radical mastectomy and had 18 sessions of chemotherapy kasi HER2 positive ako. So natapos ako early of 2017. So during that time, wala akong ginawa. Okay, so tigil ang lahat, tigil pasada ang lahat para sa akin, tigil trabaho because I don't want to be stressed. I just want to recuperate. But as soon as I recuperated, we continued, no? Abakada in Ibahay, Aklan Elementary Schools, 2017 and 2018. Ito pa yung sinasabi ko na gap na family supported talaga ito. Wala kaming ibang pinuntahan. Okay? So, but during the pandemic, hindi po kami tumigil kasi meron namang Zoom platform. So this is what we did. We started developing children's storytellers from Smart Starters Montessori from 2020 until 2023. So we trained them and the faculty members through modeling. So storytellers are now part of our storytelling events, dengue prevention, and other activities. Kaya po namin sila binitawan noong 2023 because we saw that they are already sustainable in as far as storytelling is concerned. Be it dengue, be it about science, be it about health, other health diseases, be it about moral values. Kaya ngayon, kaparte na sila ng storytelling. So kagaya ng nabanggit ko sa inyo kanina, noong 2023, nagsimula na po kami makipag-collaborate sa Unified Manila Plus, AHED MRI, UPCP, Gender and Development Committee, PLMC, and Gender and Development Committee, and LGUs in Manila. And we continued collaborating with other organizations and associations, PLMC and Alumni Association. Ang sabi namin sa kanila, tulungan nyo kami. Ikukwento namin, tulungan nyo kami sa mga BHWs para ma-monitor kung ano na yung ginagawa ng mga bata, ng mga pamilya nila. Kasama dito ang mga bata at saka mga magulang sa kwentuhan sa med mission na ito. We also partnered with UP SHS Baler, Gender and Development Committee, okay, and we had storytelling with several of their daycare center students. Ganun din ang sabi namin, parati kami nag-enter sa agreement doon sa mga kapartner namin, tulong tayo. Kwentuhin namin, mag-iiwan kami ng libro, ipa-follow up ninyo yung community sa trabaho nila. Okay, and then, well, we also went to Iloilo, College of Pharmacy, Iloilo University naman yan, College of Pharmacy, kasangga namin in teaching Abacada in different barangays there. And then of late, March 18, 2024, pati yung PNP, sinasali natin. Hindi tayo namimili. Station, Community Affairs and Development Section, Philippine National Police. Kapartner po natin yan para sa Malate, Manila. Okay? And then we had another partnership with World City Colleges for Abacada in Tanay, Rizal. Same thing, yung sinasabi namin, kasi inaalagaan nilang community ito. So sila yung nagpa-follow up kung ano yung ginagawa ng mga bata dun sa natutunan nila. Okay, and then pinaka-latest namin would be the partnership with the National University. This one will be taking care of barangays in Sampaloc. We will be doing Abacada campaigns there, and we kicked off last June 11 of 2024. Well, due in part to the continued advocacy on dengue prevention beyond government funding, I received awards for Outstanding Knowledge Station and Outstanding Leadership in Public Service. Dr. Gilmore was also conferred Outstanding Leadership in Extension Service in July 2023. So knowledge from 2012 to 2015 under the UST NRCP continues its use for children in schools and communities. Let me just read this to you. Ano po? Ito yung mga insights ng mga tao sa paligid namin kapag kami ay nagkakaroon. Ilan lang ha, hindi lahat, kasi hindi po kasya sa oras natin. Okay? Kapag gumagawa kami ng dengue dissemination, coming from a school owner and educators, sabi nila, knowing things empower people, even kids. Most do not know about diseases, but when taught how to prevent them, they would work on it. Storytelling is fun and children learn fast through this strategy. Increased awareness on how to prevent dengue will help in stopping dengue. Hopefully, I'm praying for that. Barangay officials. Siguro ma'am ng 2013 at 2014, ma'am Nelia, baka medyo stoic pa, no? Nonchalant pa yung mga barangay officials. Pero ngayon, ang sabi nila, ay, maganda daw yung avocada. Siguro naman din nila ako pinifake, di ba? Kasi hindi naman ako nagpapabayad sa kanila or anything. Natuturuan daw kahit maliliit na bata kung paano maging dengue slayers. Kasi pati yung mga barangay officials, pinapakanta namin ng dengue slayers at kung paano maging dengue slayers. Okay? Tapos sabi ng mga magulang, ang abacada ay isang bright advocacy. Laging nandyan ang dengue hanggang makapagtulong-tulong, that's the magic word, makapagtulong-tulong tayo sa pagsugpo nito. Ang pakikipagkwentuhan ukol dito ay malaking tulong, lalo na sa mga magulang na ni sintoma ng dengue ay hindi alam. So yung mga lola naman, mga sector-sector sa mga nakikinig sa amin, ano, napakaganda ng abacada, natututo mga bata, magulang at kasambahay sa pagsugpo ng dengue. Suportado po namin ito. Yung church ministry head sabi, Abacada is a good advocacy that created and creates awareness and make kids proactive in dengue prevention. And then meron kami mga tanong, mga sociologists, researchers, allied health professionals. Pinaglagom ko na lang po, ano para konti lang. Abacada improves the knowledge of children and parents on preventing dengue. It can work hand in hand with government agency initiatives. Yung sinasabi ko, hindi mo pwedeng ito lang, di ba? So tulong-tulong tayo sama-sama, consolidate all efforts in controlling lowering dengue, or the government can fund this translation. Through Abacada, isa na nga, ano, through Abacada, awareness is given to children in the barangays. We believe that with Abacada, there is strong hope in lowering dengue incidence in the Philippines by continuously, that's the magic word again, continuously advocating the program. It provides the children valuable knowledge while ensuring their comprehension, enhancing their value of responsibility to prevent dengue as they become part of the dengue prevention process. Kasi nga, pag nagtuturo kami, we turn them into dengue slayers. They, even little ones can become dengue slayers. O, kapag ka nagtitrim ka ng malalagong halaman na pwedeng pamugaran ng mga lamok, ikaw ba ay dengue slayer? Oh, of course, dengue slayer. Kapag ikaw ay nagtatapon ng mga tubig na naiimbak pagkatapos ng malakas na ulan, ikaw ba ay dengue slayer? Oo, dengue slayer sila. So yung mga maliliit na bagay na pwedeng gawin ng bata, sinasabi namin na gagawin nila because they are dengue slayers because we want to prevent dengue in the Philippines. So how can you not move forward with this insight? So moving forward in 2025, ako at Barangay Contra Dengue, we already have schedules in different barangays in Tondo. Okay, but I know that there will be other barangays in Manila LGU and in other parts of the Philippines who would want to request for it. Yun, nandito po ngayon na nakikinig. Kung gusto po ninyong mag-request ay pwedeng-pwede po, sabihin po ninyo sa amin. Wala po kaming sinisingil na kahit na magkano. Okay, and we have partnered with the private primary and secondary school in Bulacan for Abacada to be part of their curriculum starting AY 2025-2026. And it's a good pilot springboard, okay, for this Abacada to be part of the curriculum. And then after SSMI, we have started with UP Crash, no? We started storytelling with them in 2022. So we will continue advocating storytelling to UP Crash to maintain teaching moral values, concepts of science, environment and health, and dengue prevention included. We will continue to impress gender equality as the roles of gender in education. And we hope really, we already have one, but we are pinning on additional storytellers, volunteer storytellers, to help in our advocacy related to dengue prevention. Kasi alam po ninyo, iba din ang dating kapag bata sa bata ang nagbibigay ng information. Isang bata nagbibigay ng information sa kapwa niya bata. And then, in my 2020 award, Delphine Marcelo Samson Professorial Chair Award, I did another storybook from my review, from a review that I did. It's entitled Si Polyphy at ang mga kabarkadang heroes. It's about an antioxidant. Okay? Yung polyphy, kaya polyphy yan dahil polyphenol yan. Okay? And then I tried doing, okay, short film from it, and it's really good. Maganda siya. So we are trying to see whether we can get funds to create short films for the storybooks that we already have and for the storybooks that we will be coming up so that it will be more engaging for students and we would like and children and we would like to place it in a YT channel. So nakalagay doon kay mama, no? TV, oo, understandable kasi parang 2013, 2014, but now the landscape has changed, no? So yung social media, pwede ka naman mag-business sa social media platform, di ba? So meron kang Facebook, meron kang YT channel, YouTube channel that they can access anytime they want to so they can learn about dengue principles and how we can prevent dengue. So, and also we would want to translate it to mother tongues in different areas in the Philippines. So that's the moving forward. So um huling salita ko, I can advocate on this one relevant translated output on dengue prevention in my lifetime. Okay, simply try carving some sustainability element in it to allow generations to benefit from it, even when I can no longer see it. I just pray that I can at least influence others on this mindset for them to follow suit. Kasi alam po ninyo, oo, kami, ako, pamilya ko, tapos yung collaborate namin, we do it. Isa kami. And we know that we are trying to make a difference. Okay? Kung magiging dalawa, tatlo, 100, 1,000 tayo na merong ganitong mindset, mas magiging mainam ang Pilipinas. Di po ba? Or maybe give support to us, moral and financial, we badly need it so that we can expand. But, kahit wala naman tuloy-tuloy pa rin po kami. Or even create a national program for it para mas maging haklit-haklit ang lahat. Lahat ng ito ay para sa mundong hinaharap. Maraming salamat. Thank you for listening to my short story. Heart, heart, this is Judy. And these are my references. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Solidum, sa inyong pagbahagi ng inyong advocacy. At napakaganda pong tingnan na yung inyong advocacy is naging isang extension ng isang family activity kasama ang inyong asawa, dalawang anak. At ipagpatuloy niyo po. At
Maraming salamat po.
ngayon po,
Sa
we're
mga
going to
ginawa po ni
open the
Ma'am
Nelia at sa mga ginagawa po ni Ma'am Judeline. Sana po wag po nating sayangin sa mga nanonood po sa atin. Wag po natin sayangin yung dekada at taon ng pananaliksik at yung kanilang tinuon na oras upang maging eksperto sa larangan na ito. I-apply po natin kasi pag po in-apply po natin yung kanilang mga natutunan, malamang po wala po tayong problema sa dengue. And with that note, maraming salamat po sa pagsama sa amin ngayong hapon at muli po tayong magkita next week. Maganda po uli ang ating topic. So maraming salamat po and have a great weekend.
Thank
Ayan. Maraming salamat sa inyo, sa
Thank
inyong
you po.
dalawa. Malis na ba si
Salamat po.
Celia? Oo. Sige, salamat, Judy Lynn.
you.
Bye-bye.